Tears started to slide down his cheeks into the water. But it was a good kind of crying, for although he was crying in sadness for having been forced to assume grown-upness, he was also crying with joy that he could now embrace being a little boy. "There's nothing wrong with being a little boy," he sobbed happily. "It's fine. I'm fine. From now on, I want always to be a little boy and have fun." And he did. This little boy had lots of fun. But if ever something bothered him or interrupted his fun, he would soothe himself as he had done in that attic room all those years ago, by turning whatever it was into a fairy tale of his own, a modern fairy tale. And then things didn't seem so bad. That little boy's name was Tommy, and this is his tale. Chapter 1. H-E-I. You know what I really hate most of all in the whole wide world? More than people who don't bother to vote and then carp on about taxes and how all politicians are the same. More than people who think if you're bisexual it means you'll fuck absolutely anyone, especially them. Much more than the concept of circumcision, female or male. What I hate most of all in the whole wide world is that feeling. The feeling you get when you wake up one afternoon and the first thing you think of is some hideously embarrassing incident from the night before. Let's just call them H-E-Is from now on, shall we? It sounds more chic and is easier and less painful to repeat. It's the absolute pit. And it's always happening to me. This one, though, is a stonker. Last night has started so well, too. What happened the night before? There was a massive queue for the club. It was a Friday, I suppose, and we should have known better, but still. I used to enjoy a queue too, but ever since Charlie told me his club queuing theory, all the joy of the anticipation and the camaraderie had gone out of it. Now I feel like a helpless and abused pawn in the cynical game of nightlife commerce. Here's why. Charlie says that queues outside clubs are only PR devices. It's not that they're absolutely jammed to the rafters inside or anything. It's all about making the people who are driving past in their cars think they're missing out on something really exciting. 'Cause hey, look, all those people standing around in the cold wouldn't be doing it for nothing, would they? He's right, you know. In all the thousands of times I've waited in long, non-moving lines in the freezing cold, there has never been a single time I've got in and the club has been full enough to merit making me wait for that length of time. Bastards. And last night was a case in point. It was absolutely brass monkeys. That's the thing about clubbing in London, the bloody weather. And tonight I'd miscalculated yet again and was wearing just a skimpy little vest. I persuaded Charlie that we should take our ease while we were waiting, and miraculously he agreed. He was normally more into wandering round a club, getting his bearings and feeling settled before imbibing anything stronger than a Corona, but I reasoned that with a queue of this length, we were wasting a lot of potential off-our-faces time inside, and if we dropped them now, we'd be coming up and starting to fly just as we paid the hugely inflated entrance fee and ran to the bar for bottles of overpriced water to quench the dehydration. Also, it would take our minds off the cold. So we did. You just never know with an E what level of experience you're going to have. It can be anything from an, "Oh, that was nice," to a, "Jesus, what happened?" This one was pretty intense. As I'd hoped, it started outside, a sort of tingling and an overwhelming need to stretch and yawn. Then everything started to get a bit blurry. But I do remember the glowy feeling. That sensation of warmth and the imminent and unstoppable euphoria. Oh yes, it was a particularly vintage glowy feeling, actually. And by the time we made it to the dance floor, wave after wave of chemical benevolence was seeping outward from my tummy and washing over my entire being. I was up, I was off, I was high, call it what you will. But I was still me. I was just a more vivacious, smilier, and happier me than I had been an hour or so previously. I felt at my best like this. Content, carefree, and yeah, hackneyed though it may be. Full of love. You know, people who don't do drugs like this think they're really scary and violent experiences, but they're so not. They're what the word sensual was invented for. And last night, Dame Sensuality came down from the clouds and sat on my face, and I drank hungrily of her. It got a little too intense at once.